GM. Today's lesson, talking about not taking things personally. So this, as most things do, applies across all parts of your life. You definitely can't take things personally in the market, right? Because, and it's probably the most common initial flaw that new traders have. And I've never met someone who doesn't have this. And I had this when I started trading. When you lose, you take it personally, right? You just feel like some reason, somehow, it's a reflection on you as a person as to what, the market did. So obviously it's crazy. Obviously that's irrational. Obviously everybody knows that that's not true. But that doesn't change the fact that it happens, does it? Right? You have a loss or a streak of losses. You really personalize that loss. You personalize the money especially. You're like, I just lost $100, and you think in your head of what $100 can do and what it can buy. And you're like, that would take me 6 hours of work or 8 hours of work. That's like a full day of work that I've lost. And you beat yourself up and you feel like it somehow makes you a bad person, or that it somehow reflects on your inability to be a winner. And it's just not true. So how can you stop that? I think if you learn and condition yourself over time to not take things personally in all areas of your life, it will then bleed over into your trading. Because that's what we're here to do, right? You're trying to improve as a person so that it can by default improve you as a trader. I think that whether you're aware of it or not, that's a big part of what you're doing here. And many of you have noted and said that that's what a lot of my lessons do for you. You come in thinking that you're going to learn how to trade. You end up learning a lot about life. And that's not because I've got all these amazing lessons and insights. It's more that I just make you think. My intention is just to make you think a different way. And then when you think a different way, it allows you to apply certain lessons across different areas of your life. So, first thing, I used to take things very personally when I was younger. I don't anymore. And the number one thing that has made me stop taking things personally is time. And unfortunately, that's a big part of it, right? It's just that as you get older, as you go through life, as you do it more, naturally you realize that it doesn't serve you. It doesn't help you. So, I could take things personally every single time someone says, that's wrong, or you shouldn't have did this, or don't you think that, or you were right about this, but you were wrong about that. Oh, you said that such and such coin was going to go up and it didn't go up, and all this kind of stuff. Whether it's about trading or if it's just in life in general, you told me that you were going to be here at this time, you weren't here, like in everyday life. And the natural reaction is always to get defensive, because first and foremost, we just don't like to admit we're wrong. And I want you to think for a moment. You probably won't have to think that long. Think about the last time that you were absolutely 100% clearly wrong about something and someone called you out on it. They don't have to have done it in a bad way, right? They don't have to have been like, you're a fucking dickhead because of this. They might have just said, look, you said you'd be here at 6. It's now 8. Why are you late? And your default is, it's not me, it's the traffic. There's a crash on the road. This fucking idiot in the car in front of me, or I got held up at home, or my boss at work is being... It's always just your default setting is to go defensive. And, that's rooted deep in us to have this kind of desire, or not even desire, even instinct, an automatic reaction to be defensive because we feel like our territory is being challenged, or we're being challenged. And, I mean, for me, the biggest thing over time was just realizing that acting that way didn't change the fact of what had happened. So that was the first thing. Getting defensive or snapping back or trying to deflect on if you genuinely made a mistake, trying to deflect on it. First of all, it does not change the facts of what happened. And when you understand that enough times, you'll realize that first, it's a waste of time to take things personally. Secondly, you realize that it doesn't, it's not going to put you in a position to actually improve or learn. or to even be respected. Because when someone honestly says, I think you were wrong about this, or I think what you said was inaccurate, and you don't accept that, you're going to lose credibility in their eyes too. Because that person is going to say, okay, John can't admit when he's wrong. Cool. I'll note that down. And that's a stain on your character then. So over time, I realized, especially through sales mostly, because in sales, you talk to a lot of people. You basically talk to people all day, every day, and you're constantly making promises to people, right? You're promising to call somebody back at this time. You're promising this person to have a meeting with them. You're promising another person that you're going to connect them to another company, whatever it might be. And sometimes you just honestly, you just forget, right? Nobody's perfect. Sometimes you forgot to put it in your diary or whatever, and the person calls you back 2 weeks later and says, yo, where was my call? You're supposed to call me Tuesday, 2 weeks ago. And, the first few times you're like, oh, no, well, we didn't actually confirm it, or I tried to call, you lie. You're like, I tried to call you, but there was no answer. And you do it over and over and over again. And then you begin to just think, I need to hold myself to a higher standard. And for everyone, this is something it just took me years of experience to really develop. First, realizing that it doesn't change the fact, right? Lying or deflecting does not change the fact that whatever you did was true, right? If they say that you didn't call them and you were supposed to call them and that's true, it's just true. So you can't change the fact. And then you're putting your character on the line, you're putting your reputation on the line by reacting negatively to it. And then also, you're not putting yourself in a position to actually learn. Because if you admit that you made a mistake, or if you admit you were wrong, or you admit that whatever the person said or did was correct, you then can learn from it. Because just like in the market, when you make a mistake of getting liquidated, or you make a mistake of taking a stupid revenge trade, or FOMOing, or doubling down, or doing any of these things, and you feel that pain of losing money because of your bad decision, the whole point of that mistake is that it ingrains a bad feeling in your head strong enough so that you don't want to do it again. It's difficult to admit to somebody that you're wrong. That's the part about taking things personal, right? It's difficult to say, look, you know what? You're right. I was wrong. I shouldn't have said that. My information was incorrect. I didn't show up to that meeting at that time. Yes, I didn't call you when I said I was going to call you. Yes, I did. And you're going to feel a burning sensation of embarrassment as you admit that. But that feeling, that bad feeling, is going to ingrain inside your brain so that the next time you will be less inclined to make those mistakes or not follow up with someone. And it's, as simple as this. I remember the first meeting that I missed in sales. I booked a meeting verbally over the phone, completely forgot to put it in the diary and send the email. Just completely oblivious, didn't know that it was on. It was a week later. And then, 30 minutes after the meeting was supposed to start, I got a call. And it was from the client. He said, where are you? And I was like, what do you mean where I am? I'm at the office. And he's like, you're supposed to be here at 1 o'clock. We have a meeting. And right away in my head I was like, shit, how can I get myself out of this? What can I say? What excuse can I make? Like, right away my brain went to excuse mode. What could I do? What could I say? And I paused for a couple of seconds like, oh God, yeah. Sorry, that's on me. I didn't put it into the diary. I'm just going to hold my hands up, I forgot. And I felt like an idiot. I felt unprofessional. I felt like that burning embarrassment. And guess what? It stayed in my head. Then, you have no idea. Then every single time after that I would make a meeting, it was just instantly, as soon as I got off the phone, type up the call, send the email, put it in the diary. Locked in. Because the feeling was so bad of having to admit that I was just outright wrong and unprofessional that I didn't want to do it again. So in that sense, taking things personally, as in taking on board that embarrassment feeling or whatever the feeling is, can be your best friend, not your worst enemy. Then when you go outside of a work context and into more of a social context, which is where a lot of people get it, right? Especially if you're young and you've got a social group, you've got this desire to fit in, especially when you're younger, and you're trying to kind of figure out who you are, and you're trying to figure out what kind of friends, you kind of vibe with, and who's good for you, who's bad for you. Do you want to be in this group or that group? Do these people actually meet your own values and your ethics and your morals and everything? And you're always, and this is 100%, you are always going to run into people who hate themselves, who are bitter themselves, and will want to make sly personal comments about you to try and get you to react. So, the easiest way when that happens, if I get, somebody being a dickhead to me, just outright being like personally rude, I just think, I feel sorry for you. In my head, so I feel sorry for you. Now, again, the reason I said what I said first was, if you're wrong, if it's actually true, first of all, you have to admit that, own up to it, take the hit, take the ego embarrassment, and move on. That will set you up so much better in life. But if it's not, if it's just an outright sly personal comment at you, just say to yourself, I feel sorry for that person. Don't tell them that, obviously. But in your head, you're like, I feel sorry for you. That you are so unhappy with yourself. You're obviously so negative in your own life that you feel the need to lash out at others who you must deem as being better in some way, like more successful or happier or just outright, doing better. And that's their problem. So then it offloads the personal comment, it offloads that personal responsibility onto them. And it is, again, there's only two outcomes here. So whenever you feel this feeling of taking something personally, run it through that filter. First, am I in the wrong? If you are, admit it. Am I in the wrong? If you're not, it's them. It's not you. It has nothing to do with you. Someone on the street, right? You could be walking down the street and someone could just walk up to you and say, you are a fucking idiot. Someone you've never met before. If someone did that and they walked up to you and they said, you're a fucking idiot, you would be like, run to the other side of the street because they're probably a crazy fucking weirdo and they might have a knife. And then afterwards, you'd go home and laugh. You'd tell your friends. You'd tell your family. You'd be like, holy shit, this weirdo on the street just came up and out of nowhere screamed at me, said I was an idiot. You wouldn't take that personally because you know they don't know you. But if it's someone who knows you in your social group or, in school or at work or in family, whatever, you take it personally because you know them and they know you. But again, unless it's true, it's their problem. Let's say there's a person you know who's in your school or in your office at work and they say, John is an idiot. Okay, cool. It's going to be annoying to hear that because you know them and you're like, why are they calling me an idiot? But think about the statement. Are you actually an idiot? How do you quantify that? What, have you taken a fucking IQ test for the whole office to see? Have you done something outright completely stupid? If so, maybe you have to own up to it. But most of the time, they're bitter, they have a problem, the problem's in their own head, and they're just essentially trying to make someone else feel bad so that they can share in their pity and grief and anger and just their petty low energy nature. It's completely on their side. And you know this because if you're the type of person who doesn't say that, right? If you don't say about random people or about people if you don't go around shit talking other people, then you know that the other person is just low energy. And if most of your friends or your family or your colleagues are good people who are generally positive and helpful and happy and nice, and you surround yourself with those people, of course it's going to be surprising when someone hits you with a personal attack for no reason. But that's a good thing. It means you're a good person, you have good energy, you're positive, your network, your social group, your family are positive, and there's just some people that are miserable fucks. These are the kind of people who argue online all day. These are the kind of people who tweet, right? They tweet at celebrities or they tweet at people shit-talking them just to try and get a response. These are the kind of people, these people, right? These are the kind of people who go on Twitter and then they flex about how some celebrity has blocked them, right? They'll show the screenshot and they'll be like, ha, got him, or ha, blocked, idiot, ha. As if it's some flex to be blocked by a celebrity who doesn't even know you exist, just thought, I don't need that negative energy in my life. Bye, you're now gone forever. You're insignificant with your 143 followers. Fuck you, right? that is that type of person. They are the type of person who, flexes with blocking people or being blocked, who argues with random people in comments, who tries to shit talk celebrities for reaction, who leaves negative reviews on Google or Yelp, right? Who the fuck does that? Who leaves YouTube comments shitting on stuff. These are just bad energy people. So, that's it. 2 things. 1, if you take a personal attack and it's because you did something wrong, admit it and use it as fuel to become better. 2, if it's not that, it's on the other person. They're just a fucking internet troll incarnated in real life. You can forget them and move on.